Hi, it's Kai with Kai Dragon Garden and Cooking, and today we're doing the thing we talked about for several months, transplanting. We are going to take our lovely 4-year-old sage and we're finally going to move them out of these beds because they take too much resources that we can utilize for quite a bit of garden beds. Don't mind the mess. Unfortunately, winter storms and stuff tore down our shade cloths, so we're trying to rebuild everything for the show. Unfortunately, as you know, that takes time. But we're going to show you how to safely dig around the roots in order to become very successful with this. So, bear with us just a second. How's the camera? Is it on it? So what we're going to do is we don't dig near the center of the plant. We're going to dig on the outskirts of the plant. And the reason why is the root system has become evolved and moved throughout the ground, and you don't want to damage the core root system. If you damage a few roots, not a big deal, but as you can see, we're kind of slowly working our way down into this soil. And we're not going to just yank it out of the system because it's well established, so we got to be really cautious on how we do this. So we have different tools for this job today. Now, there's a lot of dead stuff on this plant, but this is all new growth. It's just a perennial that comes up every year, goes in the hibernation. Alright, that's a big, deep root system.
And here it comes. Once we get it transplanted, we're going to cut it back, and we'll save some of the long branches and stuff and go ahead and dry that because it's still good and we can use it. But the other stuff we will start fresh, just like it's a brand new baby.
Now,
and look at all those roots.
As you can see, as it's been established for a long period of time, it's got a pretty in-depth root system, and it's integrated itself very well into the ground. So what I like to do, shake a little bit of this dirt off. Looks like the root system was not damaged too bad. Pulling it up. And then we'll shake off any loose dirt. Okay, this one is ready. Now you have a little bit of window between transplanting, so you don't have to rush right away if it's not hot out.
That's the good thing about doing it in the evening when it's still cool.
Which is why we have more evening. Now this system came up a lot easier, a little easier than I like.
And voila!
It's not as deep.
We'll get in some light here.
As you can see, it's not as deep as the other one.
But there's a lot of roots on there.
There's a lot of roots for 4 years of gardening here. And for the viewers, take a look at the size of those holes.
And we're going to fill that up with some brand new compost and vermiculite.
We'll be rebuilding this whole bed. We're not going to tear the bed itself down, but we'll use the broad fork. We'll use the aerator tool. We'll get new manure. We'll get rid of the weeds out of this. And this will be primed for new real estate that we can use. They have been absorbing a vast amount of nutrients. It's a complex network system that just devours everything. And this started as a seed in the garden. So over time, it has rapidly evolved. Now there's a lot of dead stuff in here over time that's died from the cold. And a lot of times you can tell if it's got bend like this, it's alive. If you do something like that and you barely did anything, it's dead. So what we'll have to do is go through here with shears and slowly cut back the live and dead ones. But that's not what we're going to do today. We're going to get these in the ground again, in pots, I should say. All right, so we've moved everything over. We've got our dirt ready. This is a custom soil that we made out of sphagnum, vermiculite, topsoil, fertilizer, manure, all the good stuff that a plant needs to thrive. And the soil is nice and lightly warm, which is why we like to do that right before they fully take off, but not when it's super cold, so the roots don't freeze. So with our hole deep enough, we're gonna bring this bad boy right on in. And the trick's gonna be to angle it where the roots go all the way in the hole. And of course, this one's a little bit more tricky. So filling down in this hole, the root system that we made for the hole, or the roots going in the hole, is in a good position. So what we're going to begin doing.
And as he puts the dirt around the plant, he's going to pack it down in there, so
yes,
it's going to protect it.
Because we want the roots to explore and establish new connections with the soil. And some of these probably I would advise wearing gloves, because such as sage here, getting poked a few times by sticks is not fun.
Time's a lot worse. Seems to be a little more stickery. This plant is absolutely beautiful though when it is in bloom. I would almost put it in the front yard among some flowers.
Originally that was the thought, but then we were like, well, not right now. It's a nice thing with being a perennial, you can move it if you decide you wanted to put it in the ground.
You just want to make sure you're reading whenever you're planting your herbs, because your mint plants, your oreganos, your rosemary, basil, almost all of your sage plants, every one of those will be known to have a very long and strong root system once it gets established. And every year it's going to get thicker and thicker and thicker, and the plant's going to become bigger and bigger and bigger.
I mean, a lot of people would misconstrue this as a bush now, not an herb garden.
And some people like putting sage in their gardens as a bush. You see more of that going on with people doing cottage type gardens where they are planting their veggies and their flowers together and stuff in a unique style. And you're going to see a lot more of that in the urban areas and stuff too, where people are planting their vegetables and flowers together. So it won't come as a surprise when you see a lot of those plants being put together.
All right, we got the final one ready to go. With a better bit of lighting, you can see just how intense the root system is in the sage. It's a beautiful plant, very beautiful. And this is ready to go in its new home. So we're just gonna plug it right in the hole. Kind of measured the depth out. Tuck any roots that we have standing up into it. Got a little bit of root system right here. There we go. Then we can begin covering her back up. I think they'll like these new homes way better. More room to grow. No competition for resources.
And when we mixed up this dirt, we did make sure that we added some bone meal and some blood meal and also a little bit of kelp. It will help the plant. And also some, I think it's called mytolin or something like that, to help with the plant shock.
Root development. Another good one to add is wood ash or potash. You don't need a lot, but it'll help with its immune system, getting used to the sunlight. A few other nice little tidbits about it.
Yeah, it's nice if you've got friends that do a lot of fire pit burning or wood burning and stuff, to ask them for their ashes. They're always really good to use in the garden. And once we get it established and trimmed up and everything, and then we'll show you after it starts regrowing how beautiful it can be.
Whew, that water is cold. Now I try not to hit the plant still. I try to only hit the roots and the soil, because I want it to reestablish itself. I don't want it to risk getting any diseases while it's trying to adjust itself, because getting it wet can make it sick.
And once that sinks down, then tomorrow, if we need to, we'll add more dirt.
Yeah, we'll just constantly add more dirt until it's ready.
Or I should say, proper soil.
Yeah, where it's this perfect depth. Because the one thing you also want to do is you want to have enough soil to protect the roots during winter time. There's additional ways to protect it, but a lot of times people just go with a deep basin pot with a lot of dirt, depending on how cold it gets in your region. If it gets probably 20 or below, you'll probably have to take additional action, because the roots can freeze. And that's one thing I've learned over the years, especially in the Midwest. You never know when you're going to get negatives, and you just lost all your plants.
Yeah. So a lot of people save their cardboard and their bubble wrap and that kind of stuff. Those make very good insulators when you're going into the winter. I know it's a pain to save stuff like that, but when you need it for your plants, it is absolutely great. And it does cut down on the expense of some of the other things that you can use.
Well, that concludes a quick transplant guide, which you can apply to almost any plant in your garden. There's a few that I would not recommend it to, and asparagus is one I would not recommend while they're in production. That's one you would want to do during the winter time when it's amicable outside. Other than that, tomatoes, you can do that. Peppers, you can do that. Just bear in mind, anytime you transplant, you reset the clock on its growth. It's going to focus on root production and reestablishing. So if you're expecting to move a 4-foot tomato to a new one and it's not producing right away, it's because it's busy trying to acclimate to its new home. But anyway, that's been Kai Dragon Gardening. This with Kai and Ann. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll catch you on the next video.
Peace.